Hello, Troy MacCubbin.
Hello, Alison. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
So tell me what you've been up to. You have your Guitarwank podcast.
It's with Bruce Foreman. And if you don't know who Bruce Foreman is amazing. One of the world's top bebop jazz guys. And then Scott Henderson, who is like a blues fusion god on guitar.
Yeah.
And we basically sit around and just drink and talk about music and guitars and any other topic that comes up. There's no filter. It's just whatever happens.
And so what gave you the idea to start the podcast, especially with those two specific people, Scott and Bruce?
When I was living in Australia, I had a guitar teacher who introduced me to Bruce Foreman and amongst many other...
And was that Tony Calabro?
Tony Calabro.
Okay.
And back when I was having guitar lessons, he's like, listen to these guys, and he gave me all these jazz guitarists. And Bruce was a guy that stood out because he's in the Charlie Parker world of guitar playing.
Wow.
As, that's his kind of, hero, I guess, and it comes out in his guitar playing, and he's very edgy and as a jazz guy would, play. And I really got into him, and then fast forward maybe 15, 20 years later, and I'm with a friend, Danielle, DeAndrea, the vocalist, and watching her at a gig, and then she introduces the band, and it's Bruce Foreman, and that's how we met. And I had no idea who was on stage. I was like, oh my God, that's Bruce Foreman. So we become friends, and then he invited me. Come to breakfast with me and a friend, and it was Scott Henderson. I had no idea that these guys were best friends.
Nice.
And I sat there and just laughed my ass off for like 2 hours, and I walked out of there and said, man, I wish more people could hear that, because that was so much fun and I learnt so much. And then that's how the Guitarwank podcast was born, basically.
Now, you mentioned Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And was he your first?
He was kind of my first guitar
inspiration,
teacher.
Or?
Yeah, he's a guitar teacher in Australia who, he studied with some of the great jazz players of the world, like Joe Pass, and a bunch of other guys, and I studied with him, I think, for around 8 years. He just gave me an amazing grounding in classical and jazz and all these different styles. And then the dream was, it was either stay in Australia and go to Melbourne or Sydney, because I lived in a country town, or go to America. I went to a Musicians Institute for a little bit. That was the reason to come to America. Was I'm going to go study and do all that. And I was there for a little bit, and it kind of didn't work out as well as I planned, but it got me here, and I stayed, and sort of things took off from there.
Is that when you got the idea to start Alloy Tracks?
And my girlfriend at the time, her best friend was dating a trailer editor. And we became good friends, and he was like, hey, you should do some music for me. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And he kind of guided me through that industry, and how to make these trailer cues and music and compositions, and introducing me to all the right people, which really helped a lot. So it went from there.
How do you find your artists for your placement company?
Alloy Tracks was featured in Variety magazine. They have an issue every year. It's like the trailer issue.
Wonderful.
So we were featured in that last 3 years running, and through that we've just been bombarded with composers from all over the world wanting to submit their stuff, which is great. So, but it's a lot of sifting and listening and trying to work out who's really good. And
what would you like to see change in the music business?
When the web got really big and MySpace was the thing, and artists were being discovered on MySpace, and everyone was trying to get numbers, and you can spend a year creating an album and pushing it on the internet and trying to get hits and trying to get exposure and fighting through all that, and then someone posts a kitten and gets a gazillion hits, and you're like, I just recorded my life, and I've got 500 hits. And, it's that imbalance that's going on so much, and but it's also, the market is so flooded. I think, especially, it's probably around the world, but more so in America, the whole, The Voice and American Idol, it's pushed that star. You're going to be a celebrity. You're going to be famous, And kind of the music has kind of taken a second seat to celebrityism and all that kind of stuff. So that definitely needs to be reined in or, fixed. So I think when you're talking about what artists that are doing it for the right reasons and not... Because that's just all bullshit, really,
right.
Yeah. So when you find an artist or a group that's just really just doing it because
they have
to, and that's who they are, and there's a lot of people that say that, but I think it comes out through their music where it's really at.
What's next for you?
Well, Alloy Tracks is continuing. I mean, that's going great. I'm really happy with that and the direction that's going. I took the last couple of years kind of a step back from my personal music to build the recording studio, Prohibition Studios, and that was like a love-hate relationship. So now I feel like I'm getting to that stage where passion for writing and creating's coming back, and my head's more going into that space. You know, and Guitarwank's doing amazing, and yeah, so there's lots of opportunity. It's really just do it. And looking back now, I wish I had done it as soon as I got in America. Musician and acting and all that in Los Angeles or anywhere in the world, it's so hard, and there's no... You can sit here and listen to all your heroes or people that have made it. There's no one formula that works for everyone. It just happens.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given in this business?
Best piece of advice was, don't let the bastards get you down.